That's a great question, Nick.
Well, you're just a fucking racist piece of shit.
I'm tired.
If Trump didn't stay up all night fucking taking a shit and posting, like, he could get a decent night's sleep because we don't fucking trust you.
Funny that two white people are commenting on immigration to Canada.
Well, it's what you got to do, you know? I can't change who I am. You can't change who you are.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.
Should there be a maximum age where you can run for elected office? Do we need more immigration, not less? These are the two topics that I will be talking about today with my guest, Adrienne Fish. Adrienne Fish is a hilarious comic. She's traveled all across the country to multiple other countries. She's performed at every major festival. She's got albums out, which you should go and get as soon as you're done listening to this podcast. She's hilarious. She's a good friend, and I'm really excited to have her on the podcast today. Before I get to the podcast, though, you know what to do. Subscribe to this video if you're listening. Give the video a like. You can also, if you're listening to the podcast and that's how you prefer to do it, follow wherever you're listening, give it a rating, give it a review. These are completely free ways to support me, and it's the kind of support that I need right now to let me know that I should keep doing this. All right, let's get to Adrienne Fish.
Fuck you.
All right, I'm here now with Adrienne Fish. Adrienne, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. It's gonna be good. I'm actually super excited about these two topics. Full disclosure, I generate 50 topics or whatever, and I use ChatGPT to do it because there's just too much shit going on, and then I go in and I fine tune them or whatever. But it started pumping out some interesting ones. So I found this one was a good one. The first one that we agree on is that there should be an age limit for people running for political office. We both agree on that. To set the table, and then I'll throw it over to you. There's differences between Canada and the US, obviously. So in Canada, we don't have an age cap either way. There's no age minimum or maximum. So you could theoretically be prime minister at 18. That'd be insane, and I hope that never happens. But you could be an 18-year-old prime minister. And we also, in Canada, haven't had the same issues in the United States. Like, our last bunch of federal elections have all been people within that power age of late 30s, early 40s to 60 maybe. You know what I mean? So we're not there. Where the States, it's literally 87-year-olds clinging to a Senate seat for some reason. And that's where the age cap comes in. But another thing with the United States is they have age minimums. So if they're going to have age minimums, they should have age maximums, I think, just from a fair standpoint. So you have to be 25 in order to be an elected member of the House of Representatives, 30 to be a senator. Don't know why there's that 5-year difference. And then 35 to be president or vice president. And then they just go, and then you can run for office until you're fucking dead, which is crazy. It never occurred to them. Because I understand 25. I understand why you wouldn't let somebody be an elected official until they're 25, because our prefrontal cortex doesn't fully form until we're 25. And that's the area of your brain that makes you assess risk and plan for the future. Let's let that fully cook and then let them get in. But then they don't, on the other end, go, yeah, but this is the age range where brains start to melt, and then there's other health considerations that people have that can fuck them up. So you go. What's your we're both agree. What do you think?
Yeah, well, just to add to your point, I mean, at 20 years old or 25 and under, until I was 35, I was doing drugs, which, I mean, would be kind of fun in politics. But yeah, I totally agree. I think that at 75, you should be doing Sudokus, not geopolitics at that point, right? It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And there are some other jobs that have age limits. So to say it's ageist, I think is the argument. You should be able to run. It's not as though, but it is ridiculous because pilots have age restrictions, firefighters. I think I also read somewhere that bouncy castle operators also have an age restriction,
which is necessary. I think this is the real issue. You don't want a 71-year-old telling people to stop jumping on each other. They can't handle it. That's too much pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're not able to figure out how to mute on Zoom, then you also shouldn't be given the nuclear access codes.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's so irresponsible. It's like one of the most irresponsible things that we do.
Hmm.
There's just heavy decisions. And okay, so one of the factors that affects things like dementia and cognitive decline the most is stress. And
Mm.
that's why, like, when Biden got elected, if you actually watch like Biden's like 2020 shit versus his 2023-4 shit, he was pretty sharp, pretty good. And then he was president for 4 years and under the most insane stress possible, coming out of a pandemic, pulling out of Afghanistan. Like, he had a heavy only term that weighs on you, and your brain just goes, all right, buddy, we're done. Like, you're using me way too much. Like,
Yeah, I think Obama, like the withering from Obama from when he first was elected until when he left office, he looked like 75 years older, and he'd only been, it was only 8 years passing. Yeah, it's an incredible amount of stress.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
But George W. also looked a little older, but I think he actually like then went back to look, because I think he was just like he was too dumb. Like, he was just too
yeah,
like
there's no
one of
stress.
those happy-go-lucky. He was just like, well, I guess Iraq's fucked anyway. We're having ribs tonight. Like, he was just that kind of piece of shit. He was like, well, honestly, they're gonna blame Dick Cheney and Karl Rove. I'm just kind of the face here. So
Didn't
yeah,
I think Trump sent out like I just read that Trump sent out 100, I don't know when you're going to be airing this, but Trump sent out 150 posts in 2 hours on his platform, Truth Social. Like, he's
really,
lost it. He's losing it. He's in a
yeah.
state of like, yeah, of serious decline.
Which is like one of those things. It's hard for the Democrats to like. I mean, everybody should call it out, and you shouldn't worry about looking partisan. But it does suck that the Democrats defended Biden for just
Mm.
probably about a year longer than they should have. Like, I understand the first couple of years of Biden's term to be like, he's fine. But then there was just a couple of things you're like, guys, he's not fucking fine. We can all see it. Like, please stop doing this. Like,
There's so many
yeah.
shots of him just like looking like a
Oh,
robot. What's the other dude who gaps out? Oh, I can't. Oh, there's another.
Mitch McConnell. Mitch
Yes.
McConnell. He had that one incident that was like, I remember, I remember seeing that going like, oh no, 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 get him off camera immediately. Try to fill his seat with somebody else. And I like, that's the thing is like, shit happens to people when you get older. It's not even a big deal. He'll probably
Oh,
can
yeah.
live like a very healthy life, but get him out of Congress, get him out of the Senate, whatever, and just let him fucking sit in a rocking chair and
Have a
talk about
pudding.
how, there shouldn't be that Mexican restaurant downtown
Shit.
anymore or whatever he hates. Like, it's just let him be that guy. That's what he wants to do. That's the thing too. You can get out of elected office and then still go in to something else where you still help humanity if that's what you want to do. But that's the thing, is none of these politicians want to do that anyway.
Mm.
They like the power and they like the insider trading that they get to do to make themselves rich.
Hmm.
Because if they really wanted to help something, you could be like, all right, I'm going to retire at like 65, 70 from politics. I served some terms. Maybe I got a few bills passed that I'm proud of. And now I'm going to work for this nonprofit of an issue that I really care. Like, look at fucking Jimmy Carter. Served
Hmm.
one term and then was like, all right, I'm not going to keep running for other politics. I'm not going to do that. He worked for Habitat for Humanity and he was great. And he's go down is like, in retrospect, one of like the best presidents or best people for that reason. Like, his
Hmm.
term is debatable, but at the very least, he's like, yeah, he did this really great shit afterwards.
Totally. I also think that, like the younger generations are the ones that have to deal with the bullshit that comes. Like, they're the ones that are going to suffer the consequences more long term. And so I think they should have, yeah, another. It's just wild to me that some like 80-year-old whose policy isn't based on current reality, but is based on nostalgia for the
Hmm.
70s is what's leading the charge. Like, I mean, it just seems so obvious that it's the wrong move.
Yeah. It's crazy. It seems so obvious that it's nuts that we've only been talking about it seriously for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. And Biden is the one who started that talk. But then you've got Nancy Pelosi, and there was a few other members of Senate and Congress that I don't even know their names, but it was just like, oh yeah, this person's 87, and like the inside stuff that's coming about out of their office, where it's like, their assistant is like, yeah, it's not good, like. And you're like, okay, well, how long are we going to let this go for? Ruth Bader Ginsburg kind of fucked us on the Supreme Court because we would have been able to. I know you're appointed for life on the Supreme Court, but if she just had been like, you know what, I'm going to pull out, I'm going to spend some time with my grandkids here, I'm not feeling too well, then Biden, right? Or no, Obama would have been able to have replaced her, right? No, Biden. I can't remember. The world's blurring together, but she would have been able to been replaced by a Democrat. I think it was Obama, and then she stuck around, and then it ended up being. Yeah, I think that was when they replaced her with Amy Comey Barrett, who's part of a Catholic cult or whatever.
Perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
although I think she's actually brought down a couple of decent rulings that actually like liberals would be like, oh, that's not a bad reading of that law. Thank you. But at the same time, when she first came in, people were like, this is who's replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like, fuck, we could have replaced this with like a proper Democratic pick. What age do you think should be the limit?
That's a great question, Nick.
Thank you.
I mean, like, I really still feel like 70's pushing it. Like, I would say 65. And what did you say? What did you say? What did you say Canada's was?
We don't have any.
Okay, I thought you said we
Yeah,
did. I
so
was like,
we don't
what?
have any. We don't have any either, but we don't have a minimum. So as soon as you're legal voting age, you can run for any office. You could be the leader of a party and technically prime minister. But it's
Right,
because we have a parliamentary system, and it's so based on like, in order to become the leader of a party, you really have to put in some work. It's no one 18 or even probably under 30 would ever get a leader of a party, therefore prime minister. But we don't have any age minimum, so an age maximum, I think with the states, since they have age minimums, it means they recognize that the brain functions differently at different stages of your life. Therefore, let's notice that big one at the end. When I rent a car, it says, are you under 30 or over 70? There's a reason they're asking. It's not it's not just collecting data. They're like, the 71, your insurance is going to be higher because we don't fucking trust you. And why are you renting a car? What the fuck happened to you that you don't own one now? There's a lot of questions here. If you're over 70, we think you're too old and probably a fuck up. So I think 70. I think 70 is the last time you could get elected. So I think you can run for office up until you're 69, 364 days old, and you could get elected, and then you could finish that term, but then you can't run again ever after that. So
Okay.
that's where I would set the limit because I think there's enough sharp 70-year-olds, but once you start getting north of 75, that's when it's like you get in that percentile of chance of having like real, not just cognitive issues, which I think is a really big one because those can just be there in the background and you're just a little more forgetful, a little whatever. But there's also just like, it's not unheard of for like a 75-year-old to be like, yeah, I'm feeling good. Oh, what's this? Go to the doctor. Oh, and then dead within a year. And I don't want somebody elected in office to have that happen because that's another still serious issue. Like that throws everything into chaos. So yeah, I think 70. I think 70.
70's
I
good.
respect 65 though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about my parents, and my dad is now 74. And yeah, I mean, my dad is super with it and he's like sharp, but he is very aware of his own cognitive decline. He's like, wow, I'm tired. I think
Mm-hmm.
Trump like fell asleep like 5 times in this thing yesterday. What was it yesterday? I just
Yeah,
forgot.
I saw the pictures. I haven't had
They're
as much time to
tired.
read the news, so I get everything through memes, and I saw it. It was just like a collage of like him, like different angles of him fucking asleep.
I listened to Democracy Now! And they were like, "Yeah, he fell asleep 5 times, like, at multiple times." They're tired. They're tired. My dad's tired. He's tired, man, and, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. That's what happens. You get a little more pooped. So,
Yeah, and
take a s
if Trump didn't stay up all night, fucking taking a shit and posting, like he could get a decent night's sleep. Like, and even I assume that man's diet is abysmal. I imagine just watching
Oh,
what he
yeah.
eats during a day is just he's just eating processed shit and then staying
It's
up, not being able to shit it out, and then tweeting about how fucking the Democrats are all baby eaters. And you're like, all right, here we are. Hey,
it's just him with Chipotle every meal.
he would. It is. It's like it's not just processy. It's like it would be like, oh man, at least eat like Five Guys or some like quality. But you're eating the garbage. You're eating the absolute bottom of the barrel shit. Do you think it should apply to other political things, not just president, probably not just senator or Congress? We kind of talked about that, but what about like mayors or judges or anything where it's elected?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think it applies across the board. I think if there's I think the problem is that, I mean, the problem is that our capitalist society, I mean, people aren't considered, once you're out of the workforce, you're considered useless, and so there is this propensity to want to stay and hook, and that's how you're considered worthy. So I think the structural, if we want people to leave office earlier, or if we want to like take away this, you know, this idea that you can hold on until the very fucking bitter end, then we need to change the structure that people are somehow, you know, seen as worthy and wise, because that's what you are in your old age. You have
Mm-hmm.
wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't
And you,
necessarily have, yeah.
and as I say, you can use that wisdom for something other than elected office, because I don't think that's where a lot of wisdom takes place anyway.
True.
Mostly, you know, so you might as well use that to actually do things like, you know, you say what you will about Elon Musk, which I could say a ton of negative things. And obviously he's not old yet, but like he, without the shit posting, without buying Twitter, without the Trump support, if you just look at Tesla and SpaceX, that guy's done more for the world than any politician has, but
Mm.
he's a fucking lunatic piece of shit. So
Oh
he's got
yeah.
his own issues. Please, everybody, comment how much you love Elon Musk, because he's one of those fucking people that if I talk about him, it's him, fucking Greta Thunberg, fucking Nick Fuentes, fucking Joe Rogan, Taylor Swift. They all come out of the woodwork because you criticize their infallible character. These people make mistakes.
As we're sitting here talking about ageism, I'm like, look at my background. Like I can barely keep it together and I'm 40. Like I don't know what's happening. Like you know what I mean? Like you need sharp minds, sharp people with technology. That like I have a wire over here and I'm filming from my chin up. You know,
I
like
love
I
it.
don't know what
I
I'm
love
doing.
it. I love
There's no
it.
way a 75-year-old knows what they're doing in
No.
terms of
Did you ever see
staying
that
relevant.
video? It went viral. I'm sure you probably saw it, but the guy, it was like during COVID when it was like some sort of court proceeding that was done on Zoom, and the guy made himself into a cat. And
Yes, I did.
that's one of my favorite things. And every time it comes up, I'm gonna watch it 3 times. Like I just want to hear him say, I'm not a cat." You know, it's just great. But that's a guy who's like either I don't know what his role was, but he's either defending somebody who needs a good defense, or he's prosecuting somebody and we need him to do our will as the people to put a bad guy in jail or whatever it is. And he's just like, I don't
I'm
know how to
not a
use
guy.
Zoom. Let's see here. See if I got any. Oh, well, this one is kind of something that's done, but not really. So the question would be like, so should politicians over a certain age have to pass a cognitive test, like driving? And then so the reason why I'd say this isn't these. I mean, remember when Trump was talking about like, yeah, no, I passed it. You know, I did all the things and I'm great. And we like they have doctors that will massage shit for them to be like, yeah, no, he's fine. So the cognitive test, although, yes, if they applied real cognitive tests, I think probably that would be a great idea. And if they followed the results, but I just don't think they're going to. I think that like if you're the president of the United States and they give you a cognitive test and you don't do that well, they're going to be like, close enough, like whatever. We're not, you know, it's more dangerous to try to take this fucking guy out of the office right now than it is to, you know, just let him
Absolutely. There's
go.
no way. There's no way that you're getting an honest report from a doctor that's like, yeah, he's not good. Take him out of office.
Yeah.
You never see that man again. Like there's no way.
And then there's the 25th Amendment that they talk about in the States, and they were talking about it a lot with Biden. You could start talking about it now with Trump, but it's the one where you can, you know, get rid of the president based on mental decline. Like he's not mentally capable of doing the job anymore, which they honestly probably could have legitimately thrown at Biden by sort of 2023, 2024 after the debate. They should have just been like, dude, pack your shit. Like this is, you know, Kamala's in charge right now and we're going to figure this out, because that was such a mess. I watched that. I was on the road. I did a show and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go up and I'm going to fucking throw it on the stream and I'm going to go back to the beginning. I really want to see this because I've got my theories on how this is going to go. And I literally watched for 20 minutes just with mouth watching him answer questions, and oh my god, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And Trump just looked great, like because he was just when he was just like I don't know what he just said. I don't think he knows what he just said. Objectively perfect way to fucking respond to the mealy mouth mush that came out of Biden's mouth.
I remember, like, and conversely, I remember what I also remember Trump saying that I was listening to the debate where he said that, we're eating cats, that everyone's eating cats, that your cats are going
They're
missing,
eating the
and
cats. They're
yeah.
eating the dogs. Yeah.
Oh, what's
Which was
happening?
nuts. And that was Trump just being an asshole because, again, he read a tweet where somebody said that. And then he was like, no need to fact check this. I got a debate tonight. That's when I'm going to break this puppy out. Like, so he didn't even like look to see if it was true or any aspect of it was true. And then he just said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. But he did that with Kamala. And even though she lost the election, that one debate that they had, she kicked his ass. Like, she
Mhm.
stayed cool. She was great. She could answer the questions. She got under his skin, which made him, I think that's probably part of the reason why he went completely nuclear on immigrants are eating cats and dogs. I can't see another logical step that gets you there without somebody really pissing you off. I think she was like, yeah, your crowds aren't that big. Hey, immigrants are coming in from Haiti and they're eating your pets, right? It was
The good
nuts.
thing about Trump, once he's got on his side, the good thing about Trump, take that is that, I mean, he's always been nonsensical, so it's not even that much of a cognitive decline. Like, yep, that's just been him the whole time,
Yeah.
more or
Yeah, I
less.
think I feel like that's basically true. I think what's kind of happening now is it's like I think his actual cognitive decline is catching up a bit. So you'll see these like the falling asleep moments, and
Mhm.
there's been a couple other random things where I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look good. I mean, the fucking guy's gonna be 80 soon. Like, yeah, you know, give it a rest. Like, just give it a
Yeah.
rest. The idea of people like talking about him wanting to run for a third term, which I don't think they'll actually be able to do anyway. I know Steve Bannon has been like, there's a way, but I don't think it's going to happen. But the idea that it would even be speculated upon, I'm like, really? Like, you guys, your whole thing about Biden, even before he was showing super symptoms of cognitive decline, your whole thing was like, why should somebody that age even run for? That means he'll be this old when he's done. Like, yeah, that's the same thing with Trump now. We don't want it anymore. Get somebody else in there. I just don't think they have anybody behind Trump that has the same power. It would be somebody
Mhm.
trying to deliver the same Trump message through a less, for whatever reason, charismatic. Like, JD Vance is not going to be able to go full MAGA and get
Mhm.
anybody. No one likes that guy, not even his family. So yeah. Like, who else? There's nobody else in the Republican Party. They always talk about how the Democrats don't have anybody coming up. And I agree. They don't really have a lot of people that I think are great coming up, but the fucking Republicans are done after Trump. Like, they have
Mhm.
nobody. There's nobody that like can do what he did for whatever reason. They got lightning in a bottle with that guy. I hate them. I hate them. I hate that the last fucking, what is it now, 12 years of my life have involved thinking about Trump at least once a day. Like, there's no way I haven't thought about him every day for 12 years, at least once, even if it's passing or whatever. That sucks. I want those 12 years back. You can't give them to me, but that's what life has become. All right.
That was
Well,
good. I like this
let's move.
podcast. Mostly because 'cause I'm just watching you.
Sorry, I'm trying not to do that.
No, no, please, no, no, not at all. I feel like I have some basic knowledge of this, but I like hearing you go off on a rant. It's my favorite part of you, Nick.
Well, thank you. Now let's move on to the next one that we disagree on, and it has to do with those cat and dog eaters, immigrants.
Yeah.
So this is the statement that we disagree on. We need more immigration, not less. You agree with that statement. I disagree with it, but I'm going to caveat this. I am not against immigration. I think when you get into it, there's a lot of things that we probably will agree on at least somewhat, but I do think that the general statement, we need more immigration, not less, is kind of put out by people who don't necessarily take the considerations in, and it becomes more of a moral, emotional compassion argument than like, well, let's just talk about the brass tacks here, like what it means to bring in immigration. So one thing I'll just say out of the gate, I do think immigration is good. I think that the reason why a country like Canada and a lot of Western countries need to think about immigration is because we're not repopulating, and in
Mhm.
20 years our population is all going to be old, and none of that middle area where we need people doing shit is going to be there's going to be enough of them. So there's going to be three factors that sort of hopefully make 20 years from now, our country not completely self-destruct. And one is definitely going to be immigration. Two are people having more kids. And three, and this one could change everything, and all of these other 2 points could be moot, is AI, right? AI and automation could fix that problem in a bad way, theoretically, but in a way. So you think we need more immigration, not less? Go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I again, to, like, echo your points, and I've written some things down here because,
Great.
yeah, again, to echo, yeah, your birth rates are below replacement level, so an aging population means less workers supporting our retirees. Again, immigration fills your labor gaps with healthcare, trades, tech, agriculture, and if we're talking about brass tacks, yeah, our economic growth depends on it. Immigrants start more business than native-born, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if we are visitors here. And yeah, just like you're saying, more workers equals more tax revenue, which equals more social services. There's this big argument that they're taking our social service. They're not. They're actually contributing more over longer periods of time. So countries with higher immigration grow faster economically. Number three, innovation. Major inventions and companies and patents come from immigrants or children of immigrants. So if we want to compete globally, we need talent, and talent moves. So there's that. And finally, and more to the compassionate and look at how big our land is. Immigration obviously contributes to more cultural vibrancy. Half of Toronto's restaurants are would disappear if we took away immigration or reduce it, and like the rest would again become Chipotle, and then we'd draw in Trump. So you're going to get them out of here. So yeah, I think they overall they contribute more in taxes long term. They fill our labor shortages. Culture isn't a museum, it's supposed to evolve. Yeah, immigration is a government policy that actually pays for itself. Your Honor.
Okay. Just a quick counterpoint. If they have all the best restaurants and the best food, then why are they eating our pets? Why? No, I'm kidding. No, I agree with that. I love living in Toronto. And when I moved here, I moved from, the East Coast, and not just the East Coast, Cape Breton. It was white as it could be. And I was like, great. I mean, I started getting used to spicy food. It took me a little while. It did not agree with me at first. Now I love it. No, and I love the different cultures. I love fucking that we have a Chinatown and a Little Italy, and that there's great Indian restaurants, and you can, all that stuff's great. I also think we should bring people in. I have so I can get into a couple some of the nitty gritty of how I don't like what our current or what our just immigration policy was under Trudeau. I think that was a nightmare. Same thing with Biden. The last two liberal left leaning major politicians in North America were bad at it, and it doesn't mean that the general idea behind what they believed was bad in and of itself. Like Germany ran into it as well, where because Germany's outlook was even more grim than Canada's on what they were going to look like in 20 years. Their population was really fucking aging out. So they're like, we need to bring people in. But the point is that bringing in immigration, you got to do it at this level that makes sense to how it can fit into the, natural population growth, natural things first of all, when Trudeau was eventually in whatever year it is, we want to have 1 million immigrants coming in a year. It's okay, but you're only building 40,000 houses a year. You're going to need to get those numbers up. You can't do one without these other things. One of the things we talk about is there's not enough doctors, right? So I was on a wait list to get a family doctor for 5 years, finally got one. Great. I don't think that list should be that long. Immigration could solve that, but we're not doing the thing that we need to do to solve it. Here's what I would say. First of all, you want to bring in more immigrants. Bring in immigrants that are boom, you're going to be great for Canada, right? You're a doctor in your country, come over here, and instead of going, well, you're a doctor in your country, not in ours, so you're going to drive an Uber, we're going to bring all these people over. We know that they're doctors. We're just going to create a program that that's 1 year long, that certifies them as Canadian doctors and put them right into the healthcare system. There's ways to do it, but I always find politicians love the big campaign thing, the big thing that makes them sound like they're saying the right thing, and then never do any of the shit that they need to do,
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say that's an issue of politics versus whether I think the issue of should immigration increase or decrease. It's yes, of course it needs to be done in a way that makes sense, and so that we don't have these incredibly qualified engineers and
Right.
doctors and, you know,
So like,
doing driving your Uber. It's like, so what are we
yeah.
doing here?
I
It's
guess where I'd
insulting.
say what we would disagree on this then is mainly I do think we need less immigration, not more. You need to say we need more immigration, not less. But I think we need less, not more right now until we figure the other stuff out. Because if we don't figure that stuff out, there's this theory of social cohesion. There's a Canadian guy who did it. I fucking had his name and I don't have it anymore. But he talks about it. He's just like, if you bring in it, if the native population, I understand we're throwing air quotes around that, the
Hmm.
native population of a country, if the numbers start to increase where the immigration levels and the native levels start to get closer and closer, and it's not implemented properly, that's where you get at your highest risks of things like civil war or social like constructs and systems starting to break down. If you bring them in without that stuff in place and it's not rocket science. I understand once you get in there, there's red tape, bureaucracy. Canada has way too much bureaucracy, but somebody needs to put their fucking foot down and go, we do need people. We need to replace population that we're not replacing ourselves. We need these jobs in these sectors. Let's start getting those people in and making it easier for them to come and do the thing they're supposed to do. Because once you do that, then you can actually still bring in people that don't necessarily aren't what you would consider high value, where they can be like, yeah, you're just coming over to work a job and have a better life. Great. Come on over. We've got all this other shit taken care of, you know? Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah, totally. No, I will. I'm in agreement with you there. Yeah, I would agree. And like, yeah, I do think it's very funny that two white people are commenting on immigration to Canada.
Yeah. Well, it's what you got to do, you know. I can't, I can't change who I am. You can't change who you are. This is actually, it is one of the topics that I didn't want to necessarily address right away. It's been on. I've emailed it to every guest, and but I have like 15, and I pick ones. And this
Hmm.
one was always like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I want to get better at doing the podcast, like better at coming up with questions, better at like the structure of it, like so that by the time I hit record, I'm ready to go, and I'm not like constantly thinking about whatever. I'm getting better at looking at the camera and shit. So I was
Yeah,
like, all
you
right,
are good at that.
I can tackle this. I can tackle this subject now when I'm not having like 90 other things in my head, because it's complicated, and it's not just a complicated subject. It's complicated in how you talk about it,
Hmm.
because if you misspeak, people are like, well, you're just a fucking racist piece of shit. And like, no, that's not what it is. So you kind of have to couch everything you say with a little bit, but also you just want to be clear and concise on what you say. Because obviously the easy thing to do socially is say, yeah, just bring everybody here. And the hard thing to do is say, well, maybe not as much. Because even, people that are very liberal, voted NDP and liberal or Democrat their entire life are still like, but maybe a little less, or we got to figure this out a bit better. It can't just be a, you know, clown car or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, of course, of course. I think that
Yeah.
goes without say. Like, you can't just have open doors and come on in, however,
Mm-hmm.
whenever, whoever, because I think
Which,
that would be obviously have some drastic effects on the population at large.
mm-hmm.
But in terms
Right.
of it,
That
yeah.
was a question I was going to ask. So you're not like you need 100% open borders. There are people who believe that, but like you do believe in a system that brings.
Yeah, that opens immigration up more. Yes, I do. I mean, I wish I wish I could speak more from a greater or educated stance. Like, this is also like I'm kind of skimming the surface here of what like, because my knowledge just doesn't run that deep. Um, so from what I do know, this is how I feel. But yeah, I mean, I also feel like, God, what's happening in the States in terms of immigration is appalling. Trump just like frees 20 countries and like
Yep.
something like that. Like,
I
I
think it
think
was
that there's,
19 or something. Yeah.
it's a tricky one, just like you're saying, because it does play on racial politics and
Mm-hmm.
racial, inequities. And so it's a tricky one to like tackle
Yeah.
in a way that's not gonna sound fucking racist as shit, you
Right.
know?
Well, and the thing is, I think with like, and this is like with most of these topics, you go. So with most of these topics, if we could take that charge out of it, like that, supercharging some of these topics with, well, if you say this or you have this position, you are therefore this or whatever. Like it's the same thing. Like the people on the right love to say, well, if if you're for this policy or for the, then you're a fucking commie, whatever, right? Like people just paint people with brushes based on opinions they have that can be nuanced opinions if you let them speak. But if you just get immediately into like, I think we should have a good immigration policy, even if like, I think we should bring in more, you could take what you're saying, like, I think we need more immigration, and somebody be like, you fucking commie, whatever, you fucking trying to destroy the world, whatever. And I could say, I think we need less immigrants, and people like, you fucking racist, xenophobe. And it was like, but that's not, like, even in this conversation, what we're doing right now is not that, right? It's so there's just, I don't know, there's nuance to everything, and it's better to just be able to discuss it and find out where somebody actually stands. I just wanted to throw this one quote out. This is from David Frum, and he wrote it in a 2019 article. And I think it's an interesting quote and something we can discuss. If liberals, what is it? This is the quote. So when liberals insist that only fascists will enforce borders, then voters will hire fascists to do the job liberals won't do. And I think it's a good quote, because it's not that like there's liberal minded people that, vote liberal, are progressive on all the right issues that we want them to be on. But then when they get to a point where it's like, if you can't say, as a liberal person who votes left, who believes in all the progressive policies, I think we have a bit of a problem with immigration. I don't think it's being done properly. I think we are bringing too many people in at this point in time without taking care of the blah, blah, blah. And people go, well, you're a racist. Then that shutters people who have actual nuanced conversation and goodwill towards a general getting this solution solved, because that person doesn't being called a racist when you're not a racist and you're actually a liberal person. It hurts you. It hurts your social standing. It makes you feel bad. You don't like it, right? But somebody who's a fucking fascist racist, if he's like, yeah, we need less immigrants, to go, yeah, you're a fucking racist. He's like, yeah, you're fucking right. I am. I'm a goddamn racist, and I don't want any more fucking be. They don't mind saying it. And then those are the people that rise to the top. This is what's happening with Trump. Trump right now is sending out armed officers who wear masks and don't carry ID to arrest people at Home Depot. That's more than even a toe dip into fascism. And that's because no one did anything about it from the Democrats' point of view for the entire history of the Democrats. And if Biden had just had a little bit more of a strict policy, they wouldn't have been able to beat him over the head with it. And maybe people wouldn't be like, I don't know how you vote for Trump anyway. Like, I just don't know. Like, but there are people who are like, I don't know, I'm on the fence. I guess I could vote for Trump. I'm like, I would abstain from an election if I really didn't like the other candidate, but I would never, ever go and check that box. So, yeah. So, yeah, that quote, what do you feel about that? The fascists, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, you don't want, I mean, I echo that. Like, I think that you don't want the person who's like a super, who's racist to be calling the shots on immigration, because then it looks like how it does in the States. You do need someone with a bit more of a nuanced idea of what that can look like and how it can positively affect your country. But I don't think it's that we got to take care of our own first before we bring in
No, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I never like when people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't actually logically make sense. It's not how it works. It's kind of both at the same time. And actually, immigration does help with taking care of some of those sectors that we need help with, like our social sectors, like our healthcare, like our trades, agriculture, etc. So it's not one first, then that. It's actually both at the same time. But just like you're saying, in a way that can that the country can economically and socially handle. And I think that's where the gray zone of like what that actually means, and which I would have to become more educated on to really comment on it.
Right. I mean, I'm not. I have like thoughts, and I've read some stuff, but I'm not like, you know what I mean. There's people who just rhyme out the numbers and say these things, you know what I mean. I don't have those either. But I think that I've always found that, we got to take care of our own first. Like, well, no, that's not how it works. It's the same thing with like sending foreign aid to countries that need it, whether it be the Ukraine or whether it be an impoverished country that needs it. That's like a form. First of all, supporting allies is good, and soft power around the world to be like, Canada or the U.S. That's why when the U.S. shut down their U.S. aid, it was like, this is, it's good. What you're doing with this program is helping people out, and then makes them go, I like America, right? Instead, you don't do it anymore, and they go, well, what the fuck? America stopped. And then China is like, hey, we got some money for you. And then China's in control. You don't want that either. So yeah, you got to be, you got to do do multiple things at a time. Yes, we need to help out homeless people in Canada, people with addictions, mental health issues that put them on the street. That's a whole other topic, but we
Totally.
need to do that, but there's a way to do both. And you absolutely have to do both. I've always found that way of people talking about, like, we got bad problems. You're always going to have problems. You're not ever going to be like, and Canada is
Is
done.
ready.
Tie a bow. There we go. Never going to happen. Because some problems that just exist persist for other reasons. Like, people get on drugs and hooked to drugs because life is hard and cold and unforgiving. Like, that's never going to not happen. Like,
I mean,
yeah.
refugee status would be a different thing. Like, I'm like, all like, if there is people in trouble, like, bring them in. Open borders in that sense for me. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Well, you have to have like a thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, there's afflicted parts of the world and bring people in, and we've definitely done that, and that's good. And you should, when you can, but also you still probably have to have a number that you reach, because, like, again, it's just, there is only so, I mean, there's a finite amount of everything, right? So, you could bring in everybody that was displaced by the Syrian war, and our country would be fucked, just because it would just be too many at once. That's why it's multiple countries working together, not just the Western countries, but other Middle Eastern countries surrounding that area. Like, they need to do better. And that's another thing we don't talk about a lot, like countries bordering Syria that could take in other people that don't. And we're like, yeah, Saudi Arabia doesn't want to take any Syrians in. Okay, but why are we getting mad at Spain for not wanting to take as many in? Like, if we're going to put this international pressure on everybody to do the right thing, it's got to go it doesn't mean that we're going to make Saudi Arabia take people in. It just means that when Spain is like, that's a little much, maybe we don't jump down their throats that much. We go, okay, they are taking in more people, and the people have to go way further than Saudi Arabia to get to them. I can understand they're having some issues. Last part of this topic is, and I think this one's good because Canada actually did stop it from happening or really cut the numbers down. But international students, I think this is a topic that I think a lot of people can kind of agree on when you get into it. It was good to cut down the international students because colleges and universities were using them as basically ATMs. They charged them double as much for tuition. They bring them in, giving them degrees and diplomas that are useless. They calling some of these colleges diploma mills because it was like just bringing in, like, I think it was Conestoga, the university, once they cut the foreign students, they lost like 70% of their students. That's how many
Oof.
were foreign students. And they were all just there getting things like hospitality diplomas, which they were never going to use, but it got them to Canada. And with some of the lax rules around student visas and being able to apply for a visa afterwards and bring your family with you, they were like, this is getting out of hand. So they shut it down. And that's probably a good thing. That's one of the reasons why Toronto rent and Ontario rent has actually decreased a little bit. Not much, and it never will enough, but decreased a little bit in the last like year or so, because we're just not bringing in as many students. That they're, as I say, I think it's a double thing. They're taking advantage of them. Like, they're charging them $10,000 a year to get a hospitality degree that they won't be able to use. But they, to them, see that as a benefit because they go, but it gets me to Canada, which is where I want to go anyway. And then I'll just stay there and whatever. Right. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that was a good thing to cut that, or?
Well, now you got me. Wasn't able to consult. Yeah, I actually didn't. I don't know if I do remember reading about that, but I don't remember actually investing too much thought into it. But I didn't know. Okay, so why would their degree be useless?
Well, a hospitality degree is as useful as a hospitality degree is. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's not, you don't need that many people doing it. And when that, and what they end up doing is a lot of them, I think, choose a diploma that's quick, that's fairly quick, fairly easy on paper, low threshold to get in. You don't need the grades as much. And the program's probably a little less expensive. So it's like the path of least resistance to get ultimately what they want, which is to get into Canada. And the university is like, we're still making like way more money than we need to off of this. And then they're coming, people are getting here and they can't find housing. They're living 6 people in a place. It's other people from their country who are landlords. There's been plenty of stories of that where they take advantage of their own people because they're like, yeah, whatever, fuck them. Like, so yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it was,
I was
yeah.
looking for a house recently, before I moved into where I was, and it was like one house, like, and it was like 8 young dudes that were like 20 years old and like living in this house. And we walked in, there's like no they didn't have rooms. There was like one guy sitting on like laying on that couch, two people over here that was just like stuffed in. And yeah, taking advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel it's like they're getting taken advantage of a lot. And it's almost like, well, yeah, but they get to come to Canada, which is what they want. So I guess that's like whatever. And it's like, no, you still got to treat people like human beings. I don't think it's a good start or a way to go. And that's the thing is like, you know, you see the housing, like you see, I love, what was it on Facebook, the house market, whatever that
Marketplace.
page or
Facebook
marketplace. Yeah. Is Facebook, I couldn't get that out. Is Facebook Marketplace where the houses are? It used to be called Buns or something.
Oh,
I don't know. Am I dating
right,
myself?
buns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was the one where you like, you know, share apartments. And I loved when people would like call people out when they were like renting. I just went to this place. This guy said it was whatever. And it's literally like he's renting out like a closet, you know, like, and that's what people were trying to do. And for like, you know, you get in, it's like a cot, like you're in prison and it's like $500 a month and there's 3 other cots next to you. Like, you know, like in what world are you doing this? So yeah, I think those are, but I think those are part of the things that come with the territory when you don't have a good plan in
Immigration
place
policy.
for
Yes.
what we're going to do. Like this is what's going to end up happening is we don't have enough houses. People are going to rent out cots for an exorbitant amount of money. People are going to make posts about how it's like, hey, you can just go to the food bank. Remember that guy? Did you hear about that guy?
No.
There's a guy who worked for like TD and he made a post talking about like, here's how you can save money or whatever. You just go to the food bank and they'll give you stuff. And it turned out that it wasn't actually what he said or how he said it. Like there was a follow-up report on it that was good. But obviously, you know how the internet works. He made the post. Enough people were like, wait a second, you work at TD and you're fucking this and you're telling people to go to the food bank. You're a piece of shit. But I think it was just, he was actually saying like, when I was in hard times, I went to the food bank, you know, like, but it was framed as if he was a piece of shit who was like stealing food from the poor. It's just nuts. Just like fucking immigrants coming over here, eating our dogs, killing the poor, you know?
I've used a food bank. I used a food bank one time. It was during my cocaine 20s when I was not eligible to be a politician because my frontal lobe is all fucked up because I'm doing cocaine, man.
I would love to just see you at a food bank, just fucking like all gacked out, just like can of beans in your hand, and you just look at somebody and go, vote fish. You know, like you're currently running.
I mean, the good news is when you're on cocaine, you're not that hungry. So I wasn't really depleting the system.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're moving and shaking. You got time to eat. You got business ideas. You got people to text.
So much drywall. I got business plans.
Honestly, this is great talk. I think this is finding with like most of these topics, like it's like I mean, we agree a lot on the thing, but we disagree somewhat, and it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, this is super
You got
sweet.
anything coming up you want to plug?
I got corporate gigs. What do I got coming up?
It's that time of year.
It's that time of year where it's not really that exciting stuff happening. No, nothing that I got. I mean, if you want to check out, obviously I always love a follow on my socials on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, at Adrienne Fishy Fish is what's up.
And once you got like an album that some people could go check out, is anything like that?
Yeah, my latest album was called Listen to the Loons, and I released it back in June. So it's been out for a little while now. But yeah, check it out. That'd be dope.
And
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks so much, Adrienne. It was great to have you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mick.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.